Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another day of the Midas Letter Live, Midas Letter RAW. I'm here with my big fat friend, Ed Milewski. Hey, Ed.
Hey.
How you doing?
Fine.
We're welcome to another day of fraudulent markets by the fraudulent president and the fraudulent capital motherfuckers ruining everything. Anyways, we're here today to have a positive broadcast from this beautiful field full of weed, which we're going to smoke because we're so depressed about the fraudulent president and the fraudulent bullshit capital markets being manipulated by elite financial forces. And if you think we're conspiracy theorists, you can go fuck yourself. We're not conspiracy theorists. You're an idiot. Anyways, what's gold doing, Ed?
Well, gold, as the S&P went up, and they start talking about things are all well in the world, gold got hammered. Gold was down, I think, close to $40 at
What's
one point.
What's the S&P doing?
It's up 40 points.
At what time did both those things make their move?
Sometime today.
It was actually both at 2 minutes before 9 o'clock.
When Trump spoke.
Gold plummeted and the S&P shot off.
Yeah.
Now, here's how you know that the fraud is in. It's like if the market's going to open higher based on these fraudulent statements from the fraudulent president,
Right.
then how is it that gold can react before the market opens?
Well, gold is trading in the futures.
Well, if the futures are trading in the future, gold, this contract for differences doesn't open
No,
until...
but it's moving with the futures.
Well,
It is.
true, but the response in the futures does not occur till the market opens, correct?
Really? No, listen.
Okay, never mind you.
That's-
Anyways, we're going to be talking to Allison Gordon here shortly.
Yeah, I didn't
She's
give him the
the
answer
one
you
growing
wanted.
all the weed behind
All
us.
right, all right.
We have some special guests here also from a company called Quill in Portland, which are now part of the 48North family, and we're going to be talking to them. And normally this is the point at which I say, but right after this, we're going to have some news, and then somebody would read the news, but we don't have that happening today, so we're just going to make shit up. In news today, the S&P is up.
Yeah.
You got anything? No.
You got to believe a lot of these moves, and this is extremely volatile. You know, gold down $40, gold up $30, silver flying. Silver at one point I saw down 80 cents. S&P up 40 points. We talked about how yesterday the S&P was trading in a range. It broke out of that range now, and we're within 30 or 40, I think around 45 S&P points of the all-time high on the S&P.
Yeah.
So
that's
with
true.
all the,
which is 3,012 at this point.
I think it's about 3,030.
Well, 3,030. S&P's at 2972. 2978 just changed.
So it's over 50 points away.
Yeah.
Approximately. We're
From an
talking
all-time high.
from the highest
Now,
it's ever been.
In your opinion, Ed, is the all-time high in the S&P only possible due to, call it, 8 years of quantitative easing?
You know the gentleman that spoke yesterday about, did you see the thing about the ETFs and how people are just putting money into ETFs? So they're passively investing in. Yeah,
The guy who was in The Big Short.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think people should read his comments.
Actually, the one line he had that I thought was very well said is that there's all this money piling into this one asset class, but the exit door is always the same size.
Always the same size. Exactly.
And so the more money that piles in, the more friction unfolds in that marketplace.
It could cause an event that would be considered cataclysmic.
Cataclysmic, ooh,
Like
good word.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the S&P has turned higher at this late stage in the day. Gold has rebounded off its bottoms, now trading at 1518. Tell me, why is the nugget, the triple X bull gold, trading at $5 higher than where it was an hour ago? Why would the triple X be responding like it's responding at a multiple to the actual rise in the price of gold? That doesn't make sense to me.
The nugget is how much today?
Well, it's gone up from 42 to 45. So $3.
And where was the high today?
45. It's at the high right now.
It is.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the nugget, and I'm having difficulty seeing in this bright, beautiful farm
Really?
setting. Yeah,
But we're in the
I'm,
shade.
I'm over 60. I'm over 70.
Really?
I don't know what I am.
You're just piling on the years
Yeah.
before our very eyes here.
Look,
Did you smoke any weed today?
No.
No?
I don't have to. I
Do you
can
eat any
smell it out here.
edibles?
No.
No? Are you drunk?
The nugget, okay, moves up with gold stocks, not with bullion,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if gold
No.
stocks are moving up,
The nugget tracks the gold miners ETF.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, there I go.
The gold miners
Did you-
ETF.
did
Gold
you-
miners. Miners.
Stocks.
Mining companies. Companies
We
that
can
are
have fun
mining
with
gold.
this. Okay, well, okay, so let's take a look at our cannabis indexes. So, because theoretically, it's a day where the S&P is up. If there is any rebound in the cannabis stocks generally, it should be happening right today before our very eyes. Would you agree with me there? Or
You know, I don't think this business is art.
Oh.
Or science as
I
much
wasn't
as
looking
it's
for a
art.
philosophical response.
No, but
there.
I'm saying, like, you can't always say, just because this happens, then this happens. It'd be too easy.
But it's got to be. So it's got to be. We must have
No,
reason,
no,
Edward. There
no,
must be reason.
No, when you know the answer, change the game. That's what they
Ooh,
do.
Change the game.
Well, that's what
They? Those guys over there are like, which
no,
they?
they.
They, the girls
The
out
plants,
there in the field?
the plants.
They're actually running this show?
So,
Since we don't have NDI, I'm just going to like, there's
see?
our cannabis charts today.
Yeah.
And you can see that 3 of them are green and 1 of them is red. And so for the most part, it is in fact a bullish day on the cannabis index. In fact, our large cap index is up 1.85%. Our small cap index is up 3.4%. Our TSX Venture Index is up 3.4%, but the CSE Index is down 1.4%. Anyway, so
just one final comment about the commodity sector, because they're talking about things getting better. So sure enough, oil had a big move in the last couple days.
Oil.
Copper's up today.
copper.
Because copper is symptomatic of the condition of the economy. Like copper's going down.
Dr. Copper.
Dr. Copper.
Hey,
Steve Dunn.
Steve Dunn. Wow. Where's Dr. Copper these days?
Dr. Copper is right now. He's hiding. No.
Really?
Well, no, he's not. He's not. Anyway,
did-
so look, big drop in gold. Big move in the S&P. Interest rates are up today.
Okay, so basically we have a scenario where the comments by China and the United States where they've agreed to have a conversation in October about the trade war.
In October.
Is ostensibly why the S&P suddenly shoots up right at the open by 30 points and then trades sideways for the whole day. That makes sense to you?
You know what? That happens more often than you think. The move's already in there,
Baked in.
when it opens, and then nothing happens, and you sit there all day trying to day trade.
With
nothing.
your thumb up your ass.
Here you go.
Why do you do that?
Looking for plums. I don't know.
Anyways, Afria put out news today that Afria and True Chase have joined phase 2 of a Shoppers Drug Mart medical cannabis verification program. It's a blockchain secured pilot program specifically designed to increase transparency and interoperability in product identification within the medical cannabis industry. It's expected to help researchers and clinicians match therapeutic outcomes to specific genetic and chemical profiles, provide physicians, pharmacists, and patients with greater confidence in the products they prescribe or consume. Sounds like bullshit to me. What do you think?
I don't understand the press release.
It's all bullshit. Kronos Group has closed its previously announced acquisition of 4 Redwood Holding Group operating subsidiaries. That's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
And that sounds like real news.
Okay.
The transaction provides Kronos Group with a U.S. hemp-based products platform, including hemp-derived CBD-infused skincare and other consumer products that are sold online. Well, that sounds reasonable. What is Kronos Group doing right now in the market, Ed?
I wish I could tell you.
What's going on? You know,
I can't see. I
computer
can't see a
crashed or
screen.
something?
Okay, you know what? I could tell you really
your
quickly.
hamsters go on strike.
I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to cheat.
You're going to use your phone.
Well,
That's almost like Barney Rubble.
I've got it all here, though.
Huh?
You know?
Go figure. You got
So
a good
Kro-
signal over there?
Yeah, well, I've got it tied into my phone.
Well, you're holding your phone. I would think you would.
Oh, I thought you meant...
Oh, on your computer. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to read some more news. Weed MD has entered into an agreement with Mackey Research Capital as lead underwriter, to which, oh no, 10,000 convertible units for gross proceeds of $10 million, $1,000 per convertible deb, 8.5% coupon, conversion price is $1.80. Guess who's going to use that to go short Weed MD? Can you say cap all day long? Goodbye, Weed MD share price.
You know, I got a text.
Look out below!
I got a text from my buddy who follows Weed MD very closely, and he said he talked to management, and he said there was no vulture people involved, but
Oh, really?
we know that that's not.
Mackey Research Capital and there's no vulture. No, really? No. No, it's all good.
No, just
stocks a buy.
just doves. Just doves are involved.
Exactly.
No vultures.
Exactly.
Maybe a couple hawks.
Suckers to the front of the line, please. Buy.
And the stock is down a little bit, so you got to be very
Oh,
careful
just
with.
a little bit. It's just getting started.
You know what? It's going to be tough to.
What's WeedMD trading at?
$1.50
And
$1.51,
Kronos?
1537.
1537. Canadian? Are you in the Canadian market?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's up.
1538. Sorry, I erred.
You bastard.
I erred on the air.
Oxley Cannabis Group's wholly owned subsidiary KGK Science has been issued a cannabis research license by Health Canada. License is one of the first of its kind to be issued in a contract research organization in Canada. Boy, they really make a big deal out of getting a research license. It's like a research license is a license to spend shareholder money on your favorite little project. It's not, doesn't result in any near-term revenue. It might result in near-term revenue for the next generation of shareholders who come along if the planet hasn't actually been scorched into a fucking ball of barren desert pulp by then. All right.
A lot of press releases don't really imply that there's going to be revenue attached to that press release. They just make some press release, right?
Well, the implication, I think, that the takeaway is supposed to be that it's a positive.
Yes.
It's supposed to, you put out a press release to make the share price go up. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Green Growth Brands has issued an aggregate of 1.1 million shares units at a price of $2.45 in satisfaction of a portion of the cash commission payable to the syndicate of underwriters of the company's recently completed $50.2 million prospectus offering. I didn't even know they were raising money. How about that? Green Growth Brands. Now, there's one that's one of the companies that I think could be single-handedly responsible for reversing the decline. I mean, these are the guys that behind Victoria's Secret and other famous brands and stores.
Right.
And so if these guys went large and opened up a whole bunch of Victoria's Secret style stores in like 50 major centers around the United States, I think there'd be a lot more belief in the future of Green Growth's retail strategy than there would by, say, a MedMen.
Would they be modeling the hemp?
Would they? It's not.
I don't.
Victoria's Secret. Okay, bring that model out. Make sure she's fucking gooned and take off all her clothes. That's just
Jesus, James.
That's just unbelievable.
I know.
Okay, hashtags, Ed. Hashtags.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now what's happening with...
So weed, for instance.
Yeah.
Weed is up almost back to 35. Okay, so there's a good 10 to 15% move off the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because it's the biggest one, or still close to the biggest one. I think you got to watch these, and the patterns that are starting to form here suggest that we are now in a bullish move in the sector. And you know we've
So
seen
should
it
I
now.
be buying?
Well, it depends what buy. Yeah, that's all you do is buy. No.
No, I sell.
Let's try and sell some.
Sometimes.
So look, we've seen a big move in Namaste. It was what, 39 cents, 38
Short
cents,
squeeze.
and it's up 30 cents.
Well, short
That's
squeeze.
a double.
Short squeeze.
What else do you want?
That's going back to the basement as soon as the short's covered. Anyways, okay, you know what? We're going to be right back, and when we get back, we're going to have a conversation with Allison Gordon. She's the CEO of 48 North. So just watch this little 45-second thing while we... We're back here now with Allison Gordon. She's the CEO of 48 North, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol NRTH.
That's right.
All right, you are looking like a rock star today.
I mean, like, I don't usually do the merch thing, but I thought you're out at the farm. Like, let's do the merch thing.
Good farm.
It's a good farm.
It is a good farm.
It is a good
That's
farm.
all cannabis over there.
Yes, it is.
Except for those cows in the background.
So is that what they mean when they say pharmaceuticals?
Yeah, this is pharmaceutical marijuana, exactly.
Medical
marijuana.
Cannabis.
Allison, this is just one location for 48 North. How many acres are we sitting on?
We are on 100 acres, the whole farm, but within the licensed cannabis space, 88 acres, which is 3.5 million square feet. Yeah.
And I counted the plants, and there were 248,362. Which
You did that quickly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it was like a 20-minute.
While we were switching
exactly.
out
Just
seeds.
quickly went through the rows.
Yeah. No. Okay. So you planted 70 out of 100 acres, correct?
88 acres.
88 acres.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice number.
Yeah.
That's lucky in Chinese numerology, isn't it? We're going to stick with it. I don't know. That's your
let's
I don't
stick
know.
with I don't know.
Anyways,
I
any
think
of our
so.
Chinese viewers can give us a quick answer on that in the comments. We'll come and pick that up in a second. So you planted 88 acres, and how many pounds of marijuana are you expecting, roughly?
I'm not going to give you our forward-looking statements, James.
Do you think there'll be more than 10 pounds here?
Yes, I do.
Do you think there'll be more
What
than
do you think? I hear you guys have been doing the math. I've been hearing all sorts of numbers, millions of trillions of things there.
Just on the most conservative basis, if there was like 100,000 plants and each one yielded half a pound, there's your answer.
Is this
And that math.
There's
So
your
we
answer.
planted 250,000 seeds, seedlings, and obviously, you lose 1%. And we had our auto harvest that we've been doing last week and this week. So some are coming off. So we'll have a sense
What
out of
percentage
those.
have you lost?
What percentage of plants? Well, it keeps an ongoing tally, but it hasn't actually been that high. So obviously we're using feminized seeds, but sometimes there's males mixed in or other things happen. So
Did you kill all the men?
is this a homogeneous product? Is this a homogeneous
what?
plant? Homogeneous.
What does that mean?
In other words, all the plants the same, or are they different?
No. We've got 9 different cultivars that we're growing.
Okay.
And you know what? This really, honestly, I know this sounds like soundbite stuff, and it's not. It's the first year on
What
this
a
farm.
soundbite. That was a great soundbite. What do you mean? No, so it is the first year.
I'm saying it's the first year. So you want to see which strains are going to grow well, where, what part. You're learning about the farm. Like there are different spots that obviously are doing better than others in different strains.
Right.
And I'm not going to pretend like everything's absolutely perfect. I think we've done an amazing job. You've seen it yourself.
Oh, no, it's amazing. Yeah.
And especially for year one, it was an accomplishment to plant 250,000 seedlings. Like that in and of itself was a major accomplishment. But we will have significant biomass off this farm. And we've always said that 80 to 90% will be used for extraction, which is what I believe, and I know you believe,
Yes.
and Ed, I know you believe, is where the market goes when you think about the hash, the edibles, the topicals, the drinkables, vapes, all of that. I mean, that's what the market wants. And to have a low-cost input that's organic is really what we wanted to do with this farm and have done.
Sure. You have done an amazing job.
Thanks,
I'm
James.
shocked at how great the plants look
Thank you.
more importantly smell, and they're resiny and they're dank and they're like everything that you would
Dank.
expect.
I like that word. That's a good one.
No, that's dink is the word you
No,
like.
no,
Ed. Dank is about the weed.
No,
Dank.
dank means
Dank.
moist.
No.
Dank?
It's
Dank.
a smell.
It's a
like
smell.
Dank?
Dank. Damn.
I don't.
Dank, Ed.
I think it means something to do with moisture.
no.
No, that's
No?
damp. Anyways, so here's the thing that you hear from some indoor growers who like to shit on outdoor growers to
Yes.
some extent.
Yes.
And they come up with little sound bites of their own that suggest that, oh, outdoor weed is never going to pass Health Canada certification for premium dried flower because
Right.
birds poo all over it.
Right.
And what do you say to that?
Well, let's see.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's what they're hoping. But I mean, obviously, Health Canada has licensed about 6 of us, I believe, on the outdoor grow. And so we need to meet all of the specifications, but that's part of the reason why we're talking about 80 to 90% for extraction, right? Because there's a lot of remediation and things that can be done in extraction. So you are mitigating the risk on what you are going to do with the product. So I can't say what would be if you were trying to sell it all as flour. I mean, it wouldn't go that way anyways, but that's not the purpose of the farm, really.
Right. Your grower, Devin Pichet,
Yes.
gave us a little tour
He's
here.
awesome, eh?
And he is, and and he was telling us that yes, this year we've suffered little bits of losses here because it's your first year on the farm.
Yeah.
And next year is going to be completely different because now you know where the low spots are, you know where drainage needs to be adjusted, nutrients need to be adjusted. So I'm looking at the crop you have now and the very minor losses you have, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if you actually maxed out this property with all of the knowledge that you're going to gain year after year and the yields rose accordingly, it makes me shudder to think at the excess in supply that we are obviously looking at in even Ontario, the most populous province in Canada, within 2 years, call it?
Yeah, for sure. I think the outdoor will be a game changer on the supply issue. And then the question is, for us, we knew we wanted to have that first mover advantage. So what can you do with that in terms of securing shelf space, securing contracts, in terms of the products that you're going to make in either 48North products as well as contract manufacturing of other products. I mean, that's really the move, because ultimately we have no idea how many farms there'll be. I mean, if you look historically at what Health Canada has done, it's not as though licensing is an easy thing to get in Canada. So I wouldn't predict you would see hundreds or thousands of farms. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a significant amount of supply at a low cost that will come off the farm. And I think the people who are most worried about it, who are those who are presenting the challenges with the outdoor or so-called challenges, are those who are growing. Indoor is a different beast, and you and I have talked about this before, but definitely greenhouse, right? So almost identical quality, and the cost is significantly different. So I think that's where you see a lot of fear, which is, we're estimating 25 cents a gram dry off the farm. I think Deloitte had said sort of the best greenhouse people in Canada are doing it around 90 cents. So, it ultimately, as it becomes a commodity, like you're saying, and the supply goes up and the price goes down, well, margin is going to matter a lot. And so I think the greenhouse is the challenging middle there, right? Because indoor, the shelf appeal, the different kind of artisanal, that might have a different price point as the industry evolves. But I'm not quite sure where things land on the greenhouse side.
Sure. I guess you haven't actually harvested any, and...
Well, we did. We harvested the autoflowers last week, yeah.
Really?
So those, we planted about 15% of the farm in autoflowers to see how they would do here. So that actually went down last week, and it went really, really well. So it was very exciting to actually harvest. They were tiny. It wasn't big plants. So, but they were really sticky. They were great. So
were they, because they were autoflowers, did they basically, you stuck them on the ground and they went into flower mode because it was past June?
Very quickly, right? Because we got licensed at the end of May. Like, it wasn't ideal in terms of what we can do next year because we don't have to wait for licensing. So yeah, they went in later and they flowered earlier, and they were just the cutest, littlest things you ever did see.
Cool.
Yeah.
And have you heard any quality reviews from recreational consumers at all of that product?
Well, no, that's now in drying. Like we just took it off the field like last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But our Crush Vert in Quebec is getting amazing reviews. Actually, these YouTubers in Quebec have been just smoking it in their basements and talking about it.
They know it's legal, right? They don't have to stay in the basement anymore.
No, but they're influencers, or I don't know. It's actually been quite amazing. We've sold out of a lot of our product quickly, and we've been able to resupply on the pre-rolls and the flower in Quebec and Alberta and Ontario, which is amazing because I don't think you and I have spoken since we've actually had a product in market. Like we've been selling wholesale, but not since we've been at the retail side.
The only 48North product that I've tried is the lavender oil.
Right, the example.
And I'm not going to tell you how I'm using the lavender oil because
I know.
it might cause somebody to blush.
So we must get you some products.
I love you.
I know. I didn't think about it, James.
Yes, quality control. Exactly. Do you want to get that, Ed?
No, I just want to shut it off. I just want to shut it off.
Ed, love it. Let's put someone else on the line here.
Exactly.
Let's do it. But I'm very excited for you to meet Ian and Christopher from Quill. Did you see that we made that announcement? So 48North is now in the US of A. after
Yeah,
you've
okay,
just
so that's
politely
interesting.
been talking about the USA at the beginning of the show.
That's the capital
Let's,
markets globally, not necessarily just the USA. The fraudulent president, I mean, who's going to argue with me there?
I'm not even going to talk about this.
The guy should be in handcuffs in prison.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's quite harsh.
Well, if you, leave me, Ed, if you were caught on a microphone boasting about your groping of women and how much they liked it, you'd be in jail.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Maybe.
Well, you certainly
Eventually,
can't
but-
afford the high-powered lawyer. Squandered all his money in the market listening to me.
yes.
So yeah, I'm excited for you to chat with them here on the farm.
Well, they're here on the farm.
They are here on the farm.
Let's get them out here.
Let's get them out.
Are you doing the interstitial between the... No, they're just coming on? Okay.
Okay.
Come on, come out, come out. Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on
Here are the
what-
headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
I
you
think
get
it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really.
Recreational cannabis is here.
It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
Hey everybody, we're back here at the farm, Good Farm, out here in Bradford, Bradford? Are we in Bradford?
Brant County.
Brant County, Ontario. We are with Allison Gordon, who's the CEO of 48North, and we've got two special guests with us. Allison, why don't you introduce them?
Okay, so we have Christopher and Ian, who are all the way from Portland, USA.
Portland.
Yes.
Wow.
And you know what? I'm going to let them introduce themselves because
You don't
they
know
have...
their last names?
No, I didn't mean that. I don't mean their names. I mean just to tell you about their backgrounds and how they come to this industry because, you know, we don't always often have American guests.
No, actually, well, I do all the time. But...
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Anyway,
James,
so you guys
special.
have Quill.
Yeah.
And is it Quill? What does Quill do?
Quill is a vaporizer pen, and we have, so it's actually
Oh,
we're
I've
a
heard of the
vaporizer
Quill.
pen. Yeah, totally.
Actually, I've smoked the Quill.
Nice.
That's good to hear.
Oh yeah, no, and it was a singular experience, as I recall.
Excellent.
Remember, it was a funny event because I got really super high, and then the word quill, for the way it does when you're high, became one of those ridiculous words that for some reason is in that moment so funny.
That's how we designed the experience.
Nobody can stop laughing. So
We actually,
good on you.
our catchphrase is the Quill is mightier. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Did Nesta invest in the Quill?
the
Nesta?
Nesta.
No? Okay. Because I'm trying to remember how I got, where this happened. But anyways,
In Portland,
not
when you were
relevant.
visiting your brother.
No, it was way before that. When
Maybe
did
I
you
gave it
guys,
to
when
you.
when was the first Quill circulating?
We launched in 2016
Yeah.
in the medical market in Oregon. We expanded to Washington shortly thereafter.
Okay.
So we've been in the Pacific Northwest since 2016.
Okay, and is your business just all about a vape product?
It is. So we've been making this vape product in the THC space for a number of years now. We've had a couple of other brands that we've launched in the THC space as well. And now as we come on board with 48North, we are really excited to be launching Quill CBD. We're actually launching a mass market CBD Quill that is hemp based. It's it's farm compliant, farm bill legal, so it's legal anywhere in the U.S. And yeah, that's kind of that's our next big move forward is.
But this is like Ian's and Christopher being very modest. So I think there's two things that are interesting for you and your viewers. One is that, to my knowledge, this is one of the first deals that have been approved by so we're on the TSX, and they're an American company.
Whoa.
Right?
And they touch the plant?
They don't touch the plant.
There we
but
go.
you yourself were in the U.S. trying a Quill. From a
It
consumer...
wasn't in the U.S. actually, I don't think.
Okay, well, I don't know who's trafficking your stuff, James.
It was a
Okay?
smuggled Quill,
But, okay,
actually.
like, I don't know, can't speak to
I
that.
did smuggle it.
But
I
it-
did smuggle it.
It's a consumer brand. Like,
Yeah.
a consumer goes into a store,
Oh, yeah.
they buy a Quill pen.
My brother's always smuggling. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Can we
Never.
delete that? Oh, it's live. Never mind.
We do not know him. No, the point is that like a Bebo, any of these brands, often the companies are structured in such a way that they don't touch the plant. But from a consumer perspective, I mean, it is a consumer product, a consumer vape product, and that's, you know, something we went back and forth a lot with the exchange, and it wasn't so simple. So I think a lot of people are kind of like, whoa, how did that work? So
especially, how did you do that? How did you pull that off before even the new regulations allowing vape products happened?
well, that really, it's not for Canada. We've acquired Quill in the U.S.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
really?
So I'm saying 48North now
You're
has
American
U.S.
now.
assets.
Yeah,
You're all up in America now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my God.
So that's one thing. And the other thing which I want them to explain, and they're being modest about, is they have developed one of the first pure CBD vape pens. So I'm going to try and explain it my ignorant non-science way, and then I'll let them tell you the real way, which is, as I understand it, you know, obviously the Farm Bill allows CBD from hemp to cross state lines, with THC being under 0.3%, right?
Yep.
It's hard to turn that into a vape pen, because when you condense it to the levels that you would want of the CBD, the THC level would rise above the 0.3%, even though it's from hemp. And when you fractionate out the THC, often the CBD starts to crystallize and it won't work in a vape pen. So these two have figured out a way before anybody else to create a vape pen that doesn't use chemicals, because often what people have to put in to mix it so it doesn't crystallize is chemicals, and I'll let them take it from here.
No additives, no diluents, no fillers, no artificial flavors, nothing. We are taking just pure full spectrum CBD extract. We are removing the THC from it just using chromatography. I mean,
Don't give away the secrets.
Okay, not giving away the secrets, but you know, we are removing the THC from this full spectrum hemp extract, and that is it. We are not touching it otherwise. And in this process, we've got a process of doing this that prevents crystallization. So it's a technical thing. It's the kind of problem that like CBD people have often experienced. You get a CBD vape pen and you're like, it crystallized. Or it's like, you know, 20% CBD and 80% filler, right? Our vape pens, our last batch was 78% CBD, below 0.3% THC.
78% pure CBD?
Yeah. So it's
Really?
200 puffs in the vape pen. You get about 3 milligrams of CBD per puff.
And at what temperature do you vaporize CBD to not burn it yet vaporize it?
I mean, it's in like the 600 degree range, but you know, we don't have a variable temperature device on the Quill. It's meant to be very user friendly, very easy to use. So you just kind of, you know, you put it in your mouth and.
Yeah, the thing I remember about it is it didn't even have a button. You just inhaled it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that was actually, I remember thinking at the time that this one's going to make it.
Right.
Please charge the battery. Please charge the battery. Please charge the battery. Please charge the battery.
Well, I guess I know why my inner ear thing isn't working now. Good thing it's YouTube.
So that's actually another reason why we like the Quill, is that as a all-in-one unit, you don't have to charge the battery.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No battery charging.
So the pen will never say, please charge the
Yeah.
battery.
Well, I wish we had one here too. I will definitely get you the packaging, because we will not be
Technically, it's
trafficking.
illegal.
I can get you the packaging,
Right?
and it's absolutely beautiful.
How good is the
And
packaging without the actual
listen, I'm not
legitimate-
trafficking for you, James.
Oh no, I'll go down and smoke it there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we
you're welcome
will.
to swing by Portland anytime.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll be in Portland probably for U.S. Thanksgiving.
Okay,
great.
We'll
Fantastic.
make
We'll be
sure
there.
that you're there.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, for you, you're all about the THC market, so he's going CBD,
No.
and his eyes are glazing over.
No.
But-
Allison, I do every single day, except I actually forgot today, and I was thinking, oh, great, a day to see how addictive CBD can actually be. But for almost a full year now, I've been doing 1 milliliter of 48 milligrams CBD isolate per day with some terps thrown in there too. And it's like 0.07 milligrams per milliliter THC, because otherwise it doesn't work that
Right.
well. So no, I'm way more about the CBD in my
Okay.
in my old age than I am about the THC anymore. Come on, girlie, the program.
But
So
I
yeah,
think it's very exciting. Well, first of all,
actually my dogs do CBD every day.
But do they vape?
but can they vape?
No, they don't vape. They're trying, and they're just like they can't keep the. No, they do the same isolate I do, but my dog has every summer. The one dog has adult onset estrogen deficiency alopecia X, which causes her hair to fall
Yeah.
out, her skin to turn black, and she stinks and nobody wants to touch her, which for a dog is worst case scenario. And she gets it every year starting in July, and then it doesn't go away until the cold weather sets in like November. But this year I started dosing her with probably 1/3 the amount I do, so call it 12 milligrams per milliliter CBD every morning, the same time I do it. She didn't get it this year. She had perfect fur, and there's
See?
everything else
That's
is the
why
same.
we made the shirts that say I had 99 problems with CBD, cured like 89 of them. We have those T-shirts in the office that we made for the Christmas party.
Really?
Yeah,
How come I don't have one?
because you
It's
know
not
you
Christmas.
never come to the office.
Oh, that's true. I don't even know where the office is.
Queen and University, right above the Friendly Stranger.
You're literally around the corner from me, and I've never been to your
I'm
office.
at your studio at least once a month.
Oh, that's probably why. I didn't know we could come to you. That's amazing. Well, we'll remedy that as soon as we get back.
But I think it's to me, like, we couldn't be more excited because for a variety of reasons. First of all, I love Ian and Christopher, are two of the smartest, most genuine people that we've met in the industry, and just perfectly aligned with 48 North. And we know that we need to be not just in Canada, right? Like, that's part of, I think, what we see in the markets as well, is people are looking at the Canadian market. We don't know 100% what's happening with some of the regulatory stuff, and we've been looking at the US, and we're just honored that these Americans are tucking in under Canadians. It's just unusual.
Yeah, well, so that's interesting. So I'm curious as to what were apart from the evident social compatibility aspect, what are the compelling reasons for a U.S. company to join a Canadian enterprise?
I mean, the team, Allison, the things that are happening here, what's happening here at the Good Farm. I mean, this is just such an impressive operation. It's such incredible people that, I mean, when we looked at, we want to expand, we want to grow, we want to get some real firepower behind us to really get to the next level, and we want to also be present in Canada. And we were talking to 48 North about, maybe doing some type of deal involving a Canadian presence, and that just kind of turned more and more into, we really, really like this team. We really strongly believe in them, and so we want to be.
agree with all of the philosophy as well.
Yeah.
And that kind of compatibility you don't find just anywhere.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Especially
they
in
had
industry
and you
like
had different opportunities too, right? Like, obviously, we know lots of the bankers are running around the U.S. looking to find revenue-generating assets.
Bankers,
so.
that's generous. Yeah. I was going to say, I personally know at least a dozen vultures soaring around all kinds of operations in the U.S. just trying to get them to give it up.
Right.
But so you must have come across your fair share of, let's call them, aggressive capital markets participants. And you,
Yeah.
that was a philosophical nod if ever I saw one.
Well, we're an unusual breed, but
Yeah. So I was wondering what you were going to do with all that extract. I'm no longer wondering. You guys have extract sales in your pens in Oregon currently?
And Washington.
And Washington. Are you going to expand into California? And so currently, who supplies the extract for your pens in those states?
Oregon, it's being supplied by a company called CO2 Dynamics. Washington, it's Ravengrass. And California, we are still working on that.
Okay. Huh.
I know it's
Very
interesting.
cool.
Eh?
Yeah.
So we're not only are we growing.
I can't believe you teamed up with Quill Vapes. That's so weird because I think Quill was the first vape I ever had that was like,
Seriously?
yeah, that was like a no button, no special instructions, just inhale. And I was like,
Just have at it.
yeah, I was
That's
so blown away
exactly-
by that.
But, I mean, we designed the whole thing to be a frictionless experience, and there you go. That's
Yeah.
proof positive of that.
And
No,
like
it's-
James, you're like basically spouting the brand back at them. Like,
Well,
it was simple, right?
honestly, I've got a drawer full of vapes, and I don't even care what's in them because it's like one of them, you got to push the button 5 times to get it warmed up, and then you press it 2 times when
Yeah.
you're
You
ready
don't have
for
to
hit.
connect this to your
Well,
phone
exactly.
at all.
Yeah.
I know,
like-
that's a really hard thing. It's true. You're like, wait, what was the purple? What was the red? Like,
Right.
and then you're going back to the instructions, and then you're trying to start it over again.
Yeah.
It's true, but
Or you bring it to a party that's like way up in the bush, and you go to hand it around all proud of the vape you brought, and it's like, oh, the battery's dead.
I know.
That's what the flashing purple light meant.
Right.
no, for sure, we love the product and the brand. But I mean, both Ian and Christopher have. I mean, Ian, when you started, you were actually building extraction facilities. I don't know if Christopher was involved in that with you.
Yep.
So it's also, there's a lot of people out there just wanting to get into the industry by just sort of creating a brand. But I think that's what you're saying, similar ethos, the respect, the understanding, knowledge, sustainability, all the things that we're trying to create. So USA.
Wow, USA Today. All right, well, awesome to meet you guys.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
And I can't wait to sample the quill again.
In Portland.
Well, I
Or
might wait
Washington.
for it to be available in
Or
Ontario.
in Canada.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I will be looking out for that vape. And how soon till it's being sold in Canada?
I mean, as soon as possible.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have a
You
clear
know.
date on that yet.
Well, we all don't have a clear date on, like, obviously October 17th, it becomes legal, but nobody can issue a PO order, none of the provinces, until October 17th. Then you have a 60-day window. So we really don't have 100% clear visibility exactly when products will be hitting the shelves. We have just signed this deal, so we do have products in the pipeline, and really it's figuring out the best time. Obviously, some provinces have said no to vapes, no to disposables. Like, it's not a simple market in Canada,
Sure,
but
it's a hard
that's
road.
part of why I think for us being a North American company is important. We've got to sort of go where the
Sure.
business can take you.
So, vape and vape pens
Yes.
are, like, I'm just shocked at how rapidly they are proliferating in markets where they are both legal and illegal. And it's like, even on Spadina Avenue in Toronto, they just opened a brand new dispensary that's got like a full product range, and it's like
An illegal dispensary.
it's an illegal dispensary, and they're out there like canvassing business on the sidewalk. Like, come in here. This is a illegal dispensary. There's no taxes, and they're like, and I'm thinking, like, how the fuck are the legal licensed purveyors of cannabis products ever going to compete with these guys who can so blatantly set up on the street and with impunity large cinder blocks of concrete notwithstanding? Like,
Well, I
it's,
mean, I think Ian and Christopher, I mean, you would have had this similar thing. See, that's the thing about the U.S. It's years ahead of us. Like, how did
We've
that
gone
evolve
through
for
these
you?
things. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. The Oregon went recreational in 2016, I think.
Recreational at the end of 2016,
Yeah.
and it was a medical market for more than 10 years before that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. It's a tough transition, but with good planning, good execution. I mean, you
And
can
tenacity.
And tenacity. Yeah, you can get through it. It's and there's going to be bad actors that can make money, you know, in these odd little fly by night operations. But I got a lot of faith in the Canadian market. I think that there's going to be some really big things that are going to happen once we see, you know, in 2020 with more product categories coming available, with more shops opening up. So.
And also, I think consumers being educated. So we were talking earlier about some of the medical challenges that are happening around vapes, but really it's around vapes that have bad stuff in it, right? So I've said this on your show probably 5 times, and people are going to comment, and like they often say, isn't she wearing the same dress? So people will comment on this, but I don't go and buy a cookie off someone sitting on the street on a plate. Like, I don't just take that cookie and then assume that what they tell me is in it, nor do I eat it. It's really no different. I think as we move to, part of the movement to the legal market is about wanting to know what is in the product and seeing the consequences of not knowing what's in your product, and especially in a vape market. So I'm more confident than I was probably the last few times I sat with you wondering how we would compete with that consumers are starting to get concerned about the chemicals that are being sprayed on plants or the chemicals that are being put into vapes. And I mean, you yourself prefer organic. Like, why would you ever go into an illegal dispensary and buy a vape with oil in it that you have no clue what it is?
Or if it's even oil, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's an interesting question. But I have to, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I've got, some people who know their shit here. So that's true in a lot of cases. But if you look at the circumstances in which people have been hospitalized due to vaping in the United States, in some instances, there's that teenage college kid from Texas who developed end of something lung thing, and basically his lungs inflamed as if he had pneumonia, and it was a result, they think, of a allergic reaction or some other reaction to some of the compounds created by some of the materials used in the vape, which was a legal vape product. And it was not at all anything to do with cannabis.
I see what you're saying.
So, and then there are plenty of instances from my own personal experience where I've got a legal vape in the United States, and it's like, this is shit. I don't know what's in here, but I wouldn't let my worst enemy smoke this if I wanted them dead. It's just like so bad.
We
you
have
can taste
answers
this
for all this.
Right. And
Ian?
in some cases, I have encountered individuals who are proud to have me try their homemade vape product, and it is just fantastic. It's great. So, I mean, the media is going to go a long way towards helping legitimate licensed purveyors of cannabis products, you know, defeat black market influences. But I think as long as black market exceptions are out there that can provide a good product at a much reduced price because they don't have the burden of compliance with tax regimes and securities regimes and all these different things that real companies have to do, that it's going to be a hard problem to overcome, if impossible, and will always be, to some degree, eating legitimate licensed cannabis purveyors' lunch.
But the only thing we can do is do better. Right, I didn't even 15 minutes ago, I received an email citing a Washington Post story about vapes adding vitamin E and all of the potential issues that this could cause. And I have a very easy response to that. All of our extracts are cannabis-based, including the CBD ones. Cannabis sativa is hemp. It just doesn't have any THC in it. It's all cannabis, one ingredient, no adulterants, no fillers, no diluents, no vitamin E for whatever reason.
And to speak to, you know, the black market and what can be great on the black market, some of the most interesting whiskey that I've ever had I bought out of a trunk in Chicago, in the back of a car in Chicago, and it was bootleg whiskey, right? That's not the norm. You know, like normally you go to the liquor store and you get something that's good because you know that it's good, and you've got this, you know, consumers have awareness of how, and I really think that beer and alcohol are going to be good models to look at for what the cannabis industry is going to evolve into. So, you know, we're going to have various tiers of vapes. We're going to have crap vapes, just like we have, you know, crap whiskey. We're going to have amazing vapes, right? Where like you got Pappy Van Winkle. And occasionally you're going to have something really interesting that comes out of someone's garage, right? But the majority of the time, people know what they want, and they can go in there and they say, you know what, I want to go in and I want to get something that's, you know, going to be this strain and a single source, single strain vape, and trust that I'm going to, you know, get what I pay for, and that it's been tested, and that it's not going to have pesticides in it, or not going to have weird, you know, adulterants in it. And that's the trust that is just going to take a little while for the industry to build with consumers, but it'll be there. It'll absolutely get there.
So I think what I would synthesize, both Christopher and Ian are saying to your point, which is, yes, there are legal vapes made with crappy products. So not all vapes, legal or illegal, are created equal, right? And that's the message that you've heard a lot about CBD as well. And so that's what Christopher is speaking to is, you know, there will be that range.
Right.
For what you're saying is, I think it takes time for people to realize that they are more likely to be able to trust what someone says is in the vape in a legal market, because we're government regulated and we have to, what we say is in it is in it. But I think, you know, if you heard the stats on tobacco, it's crazy the amount of black market tobacco, the percentage of people that still buy in Canada black market tobacco, but tobacco is still a huge industry. So I think we're all agreeing you're never going to wipe out the black market. But the more access points people can have to a legal market, you have 5 stores in Toronto right now. How do you expect to wipe out the black market, right? But we just licensed another 50. And it's just going to take that time. Have faith, James. I have faith.
I'm merely playing devil's advocate. Well, I have to for my research. Okay, if
You're
anybody,
watching us?
Yeah, well, I'm watching us because it's that time of our little show that we invite our audience to ask our special guests any questions you might have. Pop them into the comment box on our YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/Midas Letter. And
Ooh, Pax Labs is gonna be the big dog in the vape contest.
well, so you'll have all kinds of, the audience is always
Well, we don't package in plastic.
You don't want to start picking a fight with each individual commenter. That'll break your heart.
Oh my God, look at
Entire
this.
paper
Allison
packaging,
could
entirely
convince Trump to legalize. Aw.
Yeah.
Aw, so nice.
But
Nobody's commenting on my outfit today. It's a miracle.
No. Well, look, they can't really see it. You're just in a t-shirt. Anyways, so we're going to leave it there, and we're going to come back. We're going to wrap up our segment today with another look at markets and quick comment about what's going on. Thanks to both Ian and Christopher for joining us today, and thanks to Allison Gordon for being our lovely hosts at the Good Farm.
Yeah.
And we'll be back right after this interstitial.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on
Here are the
what-
headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents,
And I
you
think
get
it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
We're back now, and it was great to have Allison and Ian and Christopher. That's really looking forward to that, Ed. But since we were talking to them, the nugget, which I told you had gone from $38 to $45, is now back at $38.
Are you sure it went back to 45 in that short time frame? Look at the dust devil. Look at the dust devil.
Wow, it's a tornado.
It's a white tornado.
Jesus.
Did you see that?
Boy.
That track from all over.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. You know
Okay.
what I'm going to do? Just
Okay. I'm going to look at it too because I find that hard to believe. It. They move, but they don't move that fast. 38. Let's see here. One day.
NUGT.
So I've got it.
Yeah, but nobody can see what you've got there.
I know because I can't read.
Okay, so there is the 1 day.
Yeah.
And look.
It opened at 42. You sure you didn't have a misprint there?
No, look.
Because I don't show that on my screen.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is, okay. Yeah, it's there.
No, it started here, and this is all between 38 and 39.
This is TradingView. TradingView is the most reliable software I've ever seen for the consumer level.
And so you're saying an hour ago it was at 45?
No. It was at, okay, so it opened at 43. It went up as high as 44. Nope, sorry. It climbed here. See, this is where it was climbing. It went from 43 to 44. Here, let me help you out there.
Yeah, I can't. You know what? I don't show any of that.
And there,
Okay, so here's the day's action right here, right? From
1331, it drops precipitously. So I don't understand why that's happening.
I think that's bad prints, bad printing. I mean, I don't think that happened. Because gold really hasn't moved, and that would explain it, right?
Well, gold actually had reversed slightly when this thing started to climb,
Yeah,
but
but-
then
but-
it took off.
Yeah, but not like what gold did.
No, that's
Gold
that's
was-
why I was asking
I
you
know,
an hour
that's
ago, why is
why-
it taking off?
I don't think it was. Because according to mine, which never makes mistakes.
Actually,
Anyway.
Stockwatch was showing Halo Labs as halted today, and it wasn't halted, but it was showing it as halted. So I don't think I trust Stockwatch as much as I trust TradingView.
Sometimes it's about, what exchange, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true.
but anyway, doesn't matter.
But the TX, the S&P now is only up 38 points.
I know, and it was up 41 or 42. It's so look, we got
Gold
we-
is down $33, 15.18.
but it was down a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I think you got to be buying gold right now.
Let's
Acapulco
see.
gold
Oh, it touched a low. There it was.
down about 39, 38.
Where's the price? Anyways, yeah. But anyways, so interesting day. Let us know how you liked our little visit to the good farm. Anyways, that's our show for today. Thanks very much. Goodbye.